feminine pseudonyms to the main stage that never responded as they were busy grinding against the laps of my friends and I. No Sapphire, no Lyrica, no Destiny, no Gia, and no Millennium. There were other girls working the stage that night, but they too picked up the scent of stacks from our booth and homed in the way a credit card tapping a mirror usually signals a location. Fucking sex bats. A couple hours and a few $1,000s later, it was last call, and a sprightly number in a schoolgirl outfit came up to me. "Your boss wanted me to give you the last dance of the night, hon." Maybe it was because I was loaded, hard too long, or just plain broken and ready to give up and reveal all government secrets after this pleasure torture, but I came back with, "Honestly, girl, I've done so many drugs and had so many drinks, I can't feel anything below my neck right now." She laughed, and I, inhibition-free, continued, "But I live a block away, and if you want to go back there and fuck, that would be awesome." Yes, I really said that, and yes, she really agreed. After being as blown away as my dulled reflexes would allow, I politely asked that she bring a few of her costumes along, as I love the fashion show. You guys already know this about me. We all said our goodbyes, and my new friend, Matt and his, and I, made our way for the short walk back to our apartment. We lived in a super nice place, and the girls were impressed, until we passed our speed freak neighbor who was sitting in a dusting of plaster flakes as he dutifully chiseled out his hanging doorbell with Duran Duran's "Hungry Like the Wolf" blasting on repeat. "Hey," I said. "Hey," he said. He was nonplussed by the two of us with Babe stepping over his leg, and they didn't seem to mind him much either. We got in, poured some drinks, set the lighting, put on some hair rock, and retired to our bedrooms. I secretly popped a Blue Diamond Phillips and waited for my metabolic system to deliver Pfizer's goods to Mini-Me. Within seconds, I had my quarry dolled up in a naughty nurse number strutting around my room. I loved it. We did some bumps off each other's cleavage. I had her dance for me, and with my empty stomach, my PED boner started overcoming the other shit coursing through my veins. We started kissing, and I unzipped her vinyl wrapper. We did more bumps off each other, and then got on my bed. "I really like your fangs," she said. "I'd love if you leaned over and bit my neck." For those of you who don't know me, I have some sharp canines, or bicuspids, or whatever the fuck they are. They've always been a source of embarrassment for me. Like, once on Halloween, I went to work with a puffy shirt, bandana, hoop earrings, and an eye patch. Some bright spark asked what I was dressed as. A pirate, I said. "Then why do you have fangs?" she asked, genuinely confused. "'Cause they're attached to my fucking gums," I said, and I walked away. This night, however, they came in handy. She got on all fours and I got behind her. Always one to follow directions, I leaned over and gently bit her neck. She moaned. Then I tipped over and fell off the bed. I was too high or drunk or rolling or numb. No equilibrium. She laughed her face off with an "oh my god." I was dying too. It was hilarious. "Hold on," I said. I need some water." I wasn't going to fumble around for clothes, but I did have a roommate, so I did the classy thing and threw a towel on my cock and walked out of my bedroom. There, buck naked except for a towel hanging on my Viagra boner, I found Matt in the hallway standing against his bathroom door, trying the knob to no avail. He looked at me, then the bathroom door, then back at me. You could tell he was dealing with some shit, and the sight of mostly naked me was no relief. "What's up, man?" I asked. She came in my room, took off all her clothes, and I was like, "Cool." Then she said, "Suck my toes," and I was like, "No." Then she kicked me a bunch of times, ran out, and locked herself in my bathroom. "Shit, man." What's all this?" he asked, motioning to my wardrobe. "I'm dealing with some shit too, bro," I said, and walked to the kitchen, ass out. I poured 2 waters and passed him again in the hall. "Just come out and we'll talk about it," he pleaded. "No!" she yelled from inside. Matt threw up his hands in surrender. "Make sure she doesn't steal anything," I said, and I went inside my room to right the wrongs. What a fucking night. Anyways, that is all to say I credit Sal for his generosity leading to that night. He definitely escalated it and made us look like ballers, and that night, we were. But, as I said at the top, there was a ton of shit he didn't invite me to either. I don't want to sound ungrateful, but there was this one place in particular he didn't take me to that contributed to the bitter end. He'd taken girls who'd worked there 1 month, and in some cases girls who didn't even work there, and always with his old buddies, while I worked. To add insult to injury, I was the guy who had to make all the drinks for their ride in his down-market limo on the way to this place. Well, after a terrible writing meeting, after 6 years of enduring karaoke in the Dimples circus of regulars, after not selling a movie, after another near miss, after another messy breakup with the enemy, after my mom calling me for the umpteenth time, and as a joke asking if I was going to be on Kimmel yet, after feeling myself get older, after my undiagnosed mental illness worsened, and finally, after Sal took another batch of bitches to the fucking Playboy mansion without me, I was in a horrible place. It was a Friday. It was 5. It was hot. I was barely set up when I found myself blending a batch of Cosmos for the limo, getting every mansion trekker his or her beer, cocktail, and wine, setting up the circus, and taking on an unusually high amount of parties. I was also the karaoke host in the KJ. So, drinks, hosting, setting up songs, making CDs of performances, running food orders with special requests to the pissed-off chef, unbearable heat, and inhaling the dank smell of a basement combined with coke farts and sour bar. I was there. I was fucking there. The thing that broke me? A trio of mentally challenged Carl's Jr. employees needling me, asking if I had a certain song, whilst songbooks were ubiquitous. I thought I was on a hidden camera show. I couldn't do it. I just kept focusing on, I couldn't do it. The cavalry wasn't coming till 8. I made it to about 6:45, and we'd only gotten busier. Finally, one of the aforementioned challenged Carl's Jr. employees yelled at me on mic from the stage, somehow blaming me for Stevie Wonder's Superstition being in the wrong key. What in the actual fuck? I'm not going to repeat any of the now inappropriate names for his condition that ricocheted in my own head, but there was a slew. I didn't know I was dealing with blankety fucking blank Mozart. I lost my shit. My, quote, co-workers were all at the mansion, drinking, frolicking, celebrities, thongs, tits, the 5th time, all while I was dealing with fast food workers criticizing what they thought was my incorrect modulation of a Stevie Wonder song. I stuffed all my tips into my pockets until they were full. Then, I untucked my shirt and dumped the rest of my cash into the pouch I made with the bottom of it. And I walked out. I passed our 21-year-old new hire door guy and said, "You wanted to bartend so badly? Here's your shot, kid." And with that, I committed the cardinal sin of bartending. I walked out on my shift. So yeah, there was that one time I was unprofessional. Well, it's last call, so let me give you a tip. If you're a Texan outside of Texas, don't order a ranch water. It's not a thing. More tips for Texans to follow. You're welcome, Colorado. Folks, it's been a blast. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. And a call to my fellow booze slingers. Send in your stories to cocktales@gmail.com. You can remain anonymous if you'd like. Thanks for listening, subscribing, downloading, and spreading the word. Don't be afraid to give me a good review, even if you're lying. If you want to support the podcast, check it out on Patreon. I don't have any extra shit there, but I'll happily accept donations. Worth a try. Oh, and check out my video, Just Close It, on YouTube. We'll see you next time on Behind Bars, Cocktails, and Wasted Nights. Cheers! Before we get started, let's set you up with a joke for your next bar skirt. Fuck. Named for the Carly Simon song I'd hear at least twice a week at Dimples, the karaoke dive bar in Burbank, I almost went, The grocery store saver card. Fuck. Crush and grind a hefty... I always show up clean and groomed as though I was going out on a date, regardless of what I did myself. Fuck. I was so sure we'd sell something in the fuck. If my male ancestors were looking down on me, I was going to start jerking off under an umbrella. Matt and I had been... He handed me the script, and I promised I'd have him... Sal mainly kept him around out of guilt, and because Terry actually enjoyed dealing with customer service reps on a... Fuck. I secretly popped a Blue Diamond Phillips and waited for him... Shit. Setting up the circus and taking on an unusually amount... I thought I was on a hidden camera show. I couldn't do it. I just kept focusing... fuck.